Scott and I. My name's Dave McGay, and I'm an attorney in Pottstown in Phoenixville. I just quick peeked. I've been doing these seminars since 1991, July, I think, of 91, so however many years that is, 20, 21 years, for SCORE. And I learn something new every day, so don't hesitate to ask questions. We try not to lecture at you, because here it is, it's 7 o'clock on a Monday night. You don't need to sit here for an hour and a half or so and listen to us talk. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. If you have any thoughts or ideas or stories, questions, etc., just raise your hand or yell them out, and we'll take them step by step. That's how I think we all learn best. The good part about a partnership is you have help and backup, right. Yep. The bad part, though, is well, it gets bad. Yeah, it can get real bad. You need a partnership agreement, or you should have a partnership agreement, which governs the day-to-day activity of the partnership and governs what happens if you would want to dissolve the partnership. Someone dies or someone retires. Real quick scenario.
Someone just wants out.
Right. Real quick scenario. Is it Mandy? Mandy and I go in a partnership together. I grew up with Mandy. We were best friends in elementary school, best friend in high school, best friends in college. We started our partnership business together.
Called Best Friends.
Called Best Friends. And it's taken us 10 years to build the business up. After 10 years, I use this example all the time. Scott's heard it a million times. After 10 years, we're finally starting to show a profit, a little bit of a profit. So, what's tomorrow? Tuesday. I walk into the shop and I said, "Mandy, we've had a good run. I'm done though. I'm tired. I'm retiring. Mandy, I want you to buy me out. I think our business is worth $1 million. And let's see, 50% of $1 million is 500,000. Mandy, it's 9 o'clock on Tuesday. I'll come back at lunch tomorrow, Wednesday. What's that? 15 hours later, or 27 hours later, whatever it is. 24 hours later, and you can break me a check, make it payable to David A. McGay. You can leave the Esquire home." Well, Mandy's sitting there thinking, "What the heck? Our business isn't worth $1 million. Maybe it's worth $10,000 at the most." And even if it's worth 10, I can't afford to write that dude a check for $5,000, let alone $500,000. Why is it fair that even if it's worth $1 million, why is it fair that that Mandy has to pay me out in 24 hours when it's taken us 10 years to build the business up? We need a partnership agreement that governs that little scenario.
Self-employment tax is the same thing as the Social Security tax and Medicare that you used to be paying on your wages. The only difference is instead of paying half is what you're used to getting withheld is half the tax. You're subject to the whole thing. So if you're an employee, your employer pays half and then you pay half. When you're self-employed, you get to pay for all of it. And so that's the main thing for being self-employed. All the money you earn is yours except for tax. And on to rough it out, I would say 1/3 is going to be taxed. So what you want to do when I say somebody's going to be self-employed, okay, say great. Make sure you can make a profit, and of that profit, it's 2/3 is going to be yours, 1/3 is going to go off to taxes.
Business cards. But I will refer to some of the phrasing here, and then I'll explain each one a little bit. So the loan application or bank checklist, when you make an application with the lender, it's a good thing to call them up first and ask them what they need for an application packet. Oftentimes what you can also do is go to their website. If you go to our website, we have an application packet that you can download. It's a PDF file. You can download that off the internet. However, if an institution doesn't have that, the thing to do would be to call them up and talk to one of the commercial lenders or talk to the associate, like Jamie did talk to my associate, Judy, and ask what should be in the packet, what sort of things do you anticipate. So, and we'll talk about some of the things that need to be in the packet. A lot of it's common sense. And it may seem like a lot of information, but it's the only way for us as lenders to judge the merit of both you and your business plan, is to gather all this information. Because whereas you've been thinking about all this stuff maybe for years, if you come into a lender, they've seen it for 5 or 10 minutes. So we have to try to get up to speed what maybe took years for you to do in a half hour or an hour. So having all this information ready at the beginning as much as you can is very helpful.
It's a clear statement of the product and service, especially how is it going to be different and better than that of your competition, different and better than that of your competition, in meeting the wants and needs of your target market, and how are you going to do it at a profit. I think it really puts all the thoughts of what's in a business plan in one quick statement. And you'll see it does focus a lot on your competition and your product, and how you're looking at making it meet the wants and needs of your target market. That is really important if you're going to be a success in your business. We're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight, and we'll talk a lot about it next week. So many people, including myself, I gotta say, do a business plan totally up here. We never write it down. You really don't want to do that. How many of you start out the day saying, I know what I'm going to do, I've got it all up here? Right? All of us do that, right? How many of you remember an hour later everything you thought of doing? Right? It goes away, it changes. It doesn't stay with what you thought at the beginning of the day. That's really why you want to do a business plan. You're going to put a lot of thought into this, and you want it to be there as a reference that you can go back to.
Reference USA, I think we're transitioning into marketing here. Reference USA is the chief one that you're going to want to become familiar with. Again, U.S. business, U.S. new business, U.S. standard white pages, Canadian white pages, Canadian business, U.S. healthcare, U.S. consumer lifestyle, new movers and homeowners. These are the breakdowns of their, but I thought I had a slide for it, but up here, take a tour. Because if you're starting to use it, you're welcome to come in and see me and I'll go over it with you, but if you're stuck on your own, that takes you through the basics. Reference USA, a quick search. Say you know a business, you just forget the contact name or whatever, you can go in here and search for them.
Track your results, refine your program, again, after you've given sufficient time to understand what's happening around your marketing. All right, now we're getting to the heart of the matter. You have a product or service. Why would people buy from you? Let's get a little bit higher view of things and ask, why do people buy anyway? And whereas that is really important, what's more compelling is really deep need. Relief from pain. And let me suggest that pain could be a very extraordinary motivator. And it's certainly true in marketing and advertising. And the successful key to marketing is to ask this: what is in it for them? Used to be, and some of you might remember, used to be that an advertiser would kind of push their product and their features and assume that if they can make this big splash around their product, that they'll have customers for it. That's less and less and less true today. Now, smart business people and marketers think, how can I address what's in it for them? And it's a perspective I'd like you to think about as we move through this.
Well, this is, it's all about profit. And the session 4, this is the last session, the first 4 items I'm not going to go into, but that's basically the idea of this course, is to try to show you those 4 items. Now, the basic DuPont formula has been around for over 60 years. When you're in business and you take your income in, there's really not too much you can do with it to change it. You can increase your revenues, or you can reduce your expenses. And that's, of course, the whole course is setting, well, how do you do that? And that's basically the idea of the course. How do you increase your revenue and how do you reduce your expenses? So the next page, you're going to have 3 statements that you're going to be working on. The accounts will prepare 2 of them, and you might have to prepare the 3rd, depending on how you review them. As I say, you might just get it at the end of the year, decide the value of the business. But I would recommend that you review your statements more than that, because if you're in business, you should be counting your cash every day. Where am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? So the balance sheet, the first thing that the accountant prepares is called a balance sheet. That's just a list of everything you own and everything you owe that's in the business name. Now, the income statement, which is the second one that either you prepare or the accountant prepares, is an income statement, which is a record of all your income that comes into you. And, of course, how you spend that money. Now, there's some items that are not cash flow immediately. You go out and buy a brand new building. You don't write off that building in 1 year.
What we're going to do here tonight is look at a very wonderful little method that on a monthly basis you can calculate the profit in your head. That sound like a good deal? So you can tell within 5 minutes whether you're making money using 5th grade math. That's good for me. Here it is. Calculate the annual cost to keep the doors open. What do we call that cost? Annual cost, or the monthly, it's the annual operating cost, or cost of operations. That's a fixed cost. That's the nut we've got to cover for the entire year. Divide that by 12, that's what we've got to cover every month in order to keep the doors open. What does it include that would help us? Salary. And? Healthcare. And healthcare. Very good. Divided by 12. Memorize that average monthly cost. In our example, that was $6,000. So you memorize the nut you've got to cover every month. That's one number you've got to memorize, the $6,000. Calculate your average gross margin, which we did over there. So we figure out that the total cost divided by 12. Memorize that amount, calculate our average gross margin percentage and dollars, and each month we compare the margin dollars generated to the cost of keeping the doors open. Time spent after we've done those initial calculations, about 5 minutes a month. And you know, in a shorthand method, whether you're covering or not, whether you're making money.